It's a story about a guy who went from a regular high schooler to a legendary ring king, just because he couldn't let his best friend say goodbye. Buckle up, because this isn't your average rom-com. The story kicks off 10 years in the past. A young Sato witnesses a strange phenomenon, a literal light descending from the sky. Out of this light emerges a young girl named Haime and her grandfather. Even as a kid, Sato felt a protective instinct toward her, a bond that would define the next decade of his life. Fast forward to the present. Sato and Haime are now high schoolers, living as neighbors. To the outside world, they're just inseparable childhood friends. Haime is beautiful, athletic, and has a bit of an Oju-sama, princess vibe, which she jokes about constantly, claiming she actually is a princess. Sato, meanwhile, is hopelessly in love but stuck in that classic, "if I confess, I'll ruin the friendship" loop. His friends see it, we see it, but Sato is playing it safe. Everything changes at the local summer festival. The atmosphere is perfect. Fireworks, yukatas, and a nostalgic trip down memory lane. Sato finally works up the courage to tell Haime how he feels. But before he can get the words out, Haime beats him to the punch with some devastating news. She's moving. And not just to the next town over, but back to her grandfather's home. As the fireworks explode above them, Haime reveals the truth. She isn't from this world. She's a princess from a realm called Arnalis, and her time in the human world was just a temporary refuge. She gives Sato a bittersweet farewell, telling him she has to get married to fulfill her duty. Before Sato can process the shock, she vanishes into a blinding pillar of light, leaving him alone with a glowing ring and a lot of unanswered questions. Most people would sit on the ground and cry, but Sato isn't most people. Driven by a decade of devotion, he notices the portal hasn't fully closed. In a split-second decision, he charges into the light. He wakes up in a world that looks like it was ripped straight out of a high-fantasy RPG. He's in a grand cathedral in the kingdom of Nomenon, right in the middle of a high-stakes wedding ceremony. Haime, or Princess Crystal as she's known here, is standing at the altar, prepared to wed a prince from a neighboring empire. But the happily ever after is interrupted by a nightmare. A massive, terrifying creature known as an abyssal crashes through the ceiling. These are demons of shadows that have been terrorizing Arnalis, and the only way to stop them is through the power of the Ring King. Chaos erupts. The soldiers are useless against the abyssal's dark energy. Haime's grandfather, Alabaster, who turns out to be a legendary sage, shouts for the Ring of Light to be given to the prince so he can become the hero. But Haime sees Sato in the crowd. In a moment of pure defiance and perhaps a bit of hidden affection, she ignores the prince. She runs to Sato, puts the Ring of Light on his finger, and seals the contract with a kiss. The transformation is instantaneous. Sato is flooded with power, manifesting a massive blade of pure light. With a single decisive strike, he obliterates the abyssal, saving the cathedral and everyone inside. In one afternoon, Sato went from a heartbroken teenager to the Ring King, the legendary hero destined to save the world from the abyss. The aftermath is a mix of political tension and extreme awkwardness. Sato is now technically Haime's husband, which doesn't sit well with the Empire or the prince, who just got stood up at the altar. Haime admits she chose Sato because she knew him and trusted him more than a stranger, but it's clear their childhood friend dynamic is about to get a lot more complicated. Sato decides to stay in Arnalis. He realizes Haime is in danger, and if he's the only one with the power to protect her, he's not going anywhere. But there's a catch. The Ring of Light is just one of 5. To truly defeat the Abyss, Sato must travel the world and marry 4 other princesses to claim their rings and unlock his full power. Talk about a complicated marriage.